Any questions for the superintendent? Item 7 is a financial report. And I believe Tracy is gone.
Tracy's gone. I just had a couple just notes here that wanted to talk about. One of the things on that you have attached is the budget timeline starting June, July, August, and September, some of the key points, and then February and April. Those we will continue to add to this and get more detail as we go through the process, but wanted to bring that to your attention there. And Tracy had given a report at the retreat, and I know there were some things that you had asked to be updated, and those things are updated, and I don't know if that has the question marks there. We talked about cost of due process hearing, and I believe Mr. Jeter had given us an estimate for his cost about $5,000, and then we'd have to figure in the, I guess it's called hearing officer. We split that cost, and then other admin time put in. So we'll get a little bit closer to that soon, but at least the line item is on there. And we did not adjust when we talked about the projected enrollment. We didn't adjust the bottom, changes in state aid yet. There's just a lot of things that Mark did a great job, him and Karen, about getting together all the information that students that are added to our enrollment that aren't necessarily in our buildings, private school, homeschool, special ed, if they have IEPs, all of those things play into that. So my hope is that those numbers will be a little bit better, but we'll put that together and explain how that is here very soon, and hopefully it'll come out better than what we had anticipated, and not worse. I don't think it will, but and that's, I believe, if you guys have questions, I'll try to answer them. The capital outlay resolution was passed, and 40 days from this coming Thursday is the timeline for protest petition, and then that will be in effect. In effect, the mill rate, it just affects some of the things that we can take out of or expand from capital outlays. So it gives us some flexibility.
Dean, on the capital outlay stuff, I guess, just because I've had some questions on that too, just to make clear, the portion that can be reclassified, not all salaries can be reclassified with that. There were only certain ones, correct?
Correct. Okay. And the way the interpretation is now is more, before you couldn't do custodial, okay, and now it's like upkeep of buildings and grounds. Gotcha. So their interpretation in the custodial and some of those things could be, so it gives us some flexibility.
Gotcha.
And just to follow up on that, our goal is to get all of those salaries out of there.
Correct.
Long-term.
And to use that for what it was intended, and that is capital projects that we'll have a long list of, so, yes.
But with those changes, it allows us in the next couple of years.
Yes, if we need to, it gives us the flexibility to take some things out of general fund and put in there if we need to, but hopefully our budget will turn around and we won't have to worry about it, but no, it'll give us some flexibility.
Dean, are there any caps on that?
As far as
the way it's stated, if we pay for something a year out of there, is there a cap, or is that kind of unlimited?
I'll have to look at the resolution for sure. I'm not aware of one, but I don't want to be quoted as saying there's not a cap, because there could be. I just need to look at it a little bit closer. Do you remember anything on a cap, Bill?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't recall anything, but
I have to look at it.
I don't remember seeing anything. It looked like it was wide open.
Yeah.
But there are limits. I mean, it's not, you can't pay teacher salaries out of it. There's some computer positions.
There's still limits on it, no doubt. Yeah.
When basically you're looking at technology, maintenance.
Technology, software could be purchased, and then uniforms, if you wanted to buy, band uniforms or athletic uniforms or anything like that, you could purchase them out of there as well. So.
Okay. Any further questions or discussion? Moving on to item 8, the consent agenda, which consists of the board meeting minutes from the May 13, 2014 meeting, the board meeting minutes from the June 2nd, 2013 meeting, the work session meeting minutes from the June 16, 2014 meeting, the special meeting technology minutes from June 16, 2014, the special meeting capital outlay minutes from June 16, 2014, the financial reports, which consists of the May clerk's report, May expenditure report, May investment reports, May building-based reports, petty cash report, the personnel transactions, and the approval of bills in the amount of $178,507.27.
I would make a motion to accept the consent agenda with one change being item B. I believe that's supposed to be June 2nd, 2014, not 13.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Board Member Bickle, second by Board Member Lang. Do we have any discussion? Now I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item on the agenda is new business and a presentation from the USD 489 Foundation. Looks like we have kind of the whole crew here, a lot of them.
Good evening. My name's Roger Bixman, and on behalf of the USD 489 Foundation Board of Excellence, I would like to take the opportunity to come here and present to you a little bit about what we do with the foundation and what we've got going on. I'm served as the president, have for about 2.5 years now, and I'd also like to take the opportunity to mention our other board members. As Greg said, we have several board members here, a handful, and like good students are in the front row, most of them. So, but our board consists of 10 members. Again, I'm the president and serve as the president. Curtis Brown is the vice president. Karina Beam is our secretary. Cheryl Schubert, who's a little bit under the weather, I talked to her earlier today, and she's our treasurer. Our school board appointments are Tammy Wellbrock and, of course, Lance Bickle. Sandra Boehner, who is a former USD 489 employee, as well as has been on the foundation and is really the heart and soul kind of the foundation. We go to her for everything that we need, and she can usually help us out. Other board members are Dustin Schlafly, Tara O'Connor, and Nikki Adams. So basically, I think we passed out some brochures on what we do, and basically just start off with what our mission statement is. The mission statement of the USD 489 Foundation for Educational Excellence is to support Hayes Public Schools in their work to maintain a challenging and inspiring educational atmosphere, allowing all students to discover their full potential for success. Basically, the Foundation for Educational Excellence provides an opportunity for alumni, parents, businesses, and supporters of schools to enhance our children's education through monetary, estate, and in-kind donations. Our foundation is a 501c3 non-for-profit organization, and basically was created back in the late 80s, 1980s, somewhere around there, to improve USD 489 students' academic experience by supplying and enhancing facilities and services not provided by public funding. So some of these examples that we take care of or help finance, one of them is in our at-risk program, is for extra milk or milk for elementary students. If they can't afford milk or they need extra milk, we help provide financial assistance for that. Other materials or supplies that we've done in the past would be, for example, we've had a student that needed glasses, and we help provide financial assistance for those. Musical instruments. We've also provided codes for students that couldn't afford codes. Materials such as a woodworking class, a high school student that needed some materials for woodworking, we were providing that. So those are some of the examples that we helped finance. Basically, how it's set up is usually the school counselors are involved, and they will usually send us a request on behalf of the student for whatever needs are need to be met by that student. And then the rest of the foundation board will usually determine whether we can financially provide that assistance for that student. So really, that's kind of it. You know, if you have questions on it, we are on the webpage. The USD 489 webpage is a link, and our foundation's there. And obviously, we do accept donations through that website. We don't do a lot of fundraising. We've talked about different things. When I first got on, we talked about having an annual banquet to help raise money for the foundation. After long discussion, Sandra had come up with an ideal called Project 489, which we launched about a year and a half ago. And so I'm going to invite her up here just to tell you just a little bit about Project 489. And then after that, if you have any questions, we'll try to field those and answer those. So again, thank you for the opportunity to visit with you about the 489 Foundation for Educational Excellence.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Roger. I am so excited where the foundation is today, but I'm even more excited what we know it can be tomorrow. And the thing that's so great about our Project 489 is it's unique to our 489 Foundation. And we wanted something that when they see the words, they know it has to be us. There's no question about it. But one of the things we're working on now is just getting out. Some of us have been taking turns speaking at different civic groups, introducing Project 489 to them. We have it set up now with USD 489 where our employees can fund by doing payroll deduction. And the idea is, for people, they can give $4.89, $48.90, $489, or we take $4,890, or however high you want to go, we can certainly help you with that. And we're hoping to get out and visit with different other employers too, to see if they would be willing to come on, and if we can do bank drafts. We're working towards getting that set up. Of course, we take checks, cash, whatever you would like to share with us. One of the things that has been on my heart, and I know I'm speaking for the entire board, and as I see different ones sitting at the table that's been part of the foundation in the past that may not be now, I know it was your heart as well, is what we can do, and it still comes back to the individual child. Our foundation will go places that the district can't go, and either through a limited amount of funds that we can maybe help supplement different projects that the district's unable to do, but also we can do things for the individual child and families that the district also by law is not allowed to do. And one of the things, of course, anyone that's familiar with the 501c3 knows that if somebody makes a donation, it is tax deductible, but also with the 501c3, if someone says, I want to give you this donation, and this is how I want it spent by law, that's what we're required to do. And but our Project 489 gives us a little more flexibility, unless somebody would earmark it for something specifically to let us help, where the needs truly are. One of the things, we do have some specific funds in our foundation for scholarships for some of our young people as they graduate from high school. Through some of them was through in memory of loved ones, and that is a tremendous thing to be able to do. But I would like to take that one step further and to get the word out there to the public, those watching this evening, and hopefully hear about. But I think it'd be great to have a scholarship line for the children at a much younger age that just need it to survive in school equally to their peers. And I feel like if we can also, in addition to the other, zero in on those needs, we're building a foundation in those children that will someday too allow them to maybe apply for a scholarship to go to college that might not have otherwise. Plus, there's so many things we would like to do with the classroom, with teachers. Obviously, they need money. And to take it, we just have so many things going on in our minds we want to do, but of course, all that takes money. But I'll quit rattling on, and thank you again, and just to encourage everybody to consider giving $489 or $48.90 or on up. And is any of the other board, would they like to share? They're not all jumping up here.
Sandra, I'd like to thank you and Karina as well, just individually for your two former employees that have gotten back involved and continue to be involved on your own time. And so I'd like to thank you guys for that. I'd also, Dustin, I saw him somewhere, I can't see him now, I guess I didn't see Nikki come in as well, but Dustin, I know when I was more involved with the board, between him and NextAct, did a whole lot of work on marketing type tools, and so I'd like to thank them and thank all the board members for all their time and effort. Can I ask one softball question for you, Roger, if you could come up?
Go ahead.
Long range for the foundation, is it just, I mean, you talked about some of the things that the board has done to date for giving to individual children and things like that. Is that the long range plan, or is it more of a larger scale plan for buildings and building needs or specific?
Yeah, I think, we have funds set up that are earmarked, as Sandra said, for just certain things, and so if the donation was marked for just that, specifically, like she said, by law, we have to spend it on that, but, I mean, I think it would be open for anything, just anything that would help benefit the students of 489 who are going through the school, so, yeah, I think facilities and students, any needs that there is that we would be willing to help out with. I think that's what we would agree upon, so.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you again for having us.
Yes, Roger.
Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion? Next item on the agenda is approval for the signing of the Edgenuity contract for the 2014-15 school year. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved by Board Member Patterson, seconded by Board Member Liker to approve the signing of the Edgenuity contract for the 2014-15 school year. Is there any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Item C is the approval of the meal prices for 2014 and 15, and Jessica Yunker is here to address that.
Basically, due to federal equity requirements and rising food cost and rising cost of indirects with the secretary's salaries, I'm recommending a 10-cent raise in all meal prices for breakfast, lunch, and adult. So, sorry.
Do we have a motion to accept the recommendation to increase meal prices for the 2014-15 school year?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Board Member Lang, seconded by Board Member Liker to accept the recommendation, increase the meal prices 10 cents for 2014-15 school year. Is there any discussion?
Perhaps more for the public's benefit. We discussed this at the work session, and you shared with us your analysis and everything that went into this decision. So we have looked at this and discussed this in a previous work session, so I think we all feel very comfortable with your recommendation.
And is it correct that we have to continue moving until we hit that federal rate?
Yes, the requirement is average $2.65 per meal, so until we get to that point, we'll have to continue raising it. And every school district has to do it, so unless the district wants to supplement, so.
A couple of questions. First, the meal prices, the food program is self-sufficient. The meal prices cover, and the federal funding cover all costs, and there's no additional dollars coming out of the general fund. Is that correct?
Correct. We pay all salaries, insurance, equipment, food, everything.
And then the last, and I'm going to apologize, you may have told us this at the work session, but when was the last time we had an increase?
It increased last year. And previous to that, I'm not sure.
And historically, that's been about a 10-cent maximum a year increase.
Right. The maximum is 10 cents, so we can't raise it any more than that per year. But this year, the minimum is 7. I'm recommending 10, so we can get to that mark closer.
And you feel comfortable that'll cover all food costs, even though they're rising?
Yes. Well, yes and no. It's the maximum that we can raise it, so this year, and then next year we'll see what happens. But
Okay.
Any further questions? Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is item E, which is the approval of student and staff handbooks for 2014 and 15. Do we have, well, Superintendent Catt, is there any further presentation?
No, we had made the changes that were suggested at the work session, and they are ready for your approval.
Do we have a motion to approve the student and staff handbooks?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Board Member Patterson, seconded by Board Member Bickle to approve the student and staff handbooks for 2014-15. Is there any discussion?
Was it said these are only available online? That's where they're all at? Is that right? Okay.
We run, we have it online, and we always run some hard copies for enrollment if parents request it, but we don't run it. That's what we do.
So, and for those that may not have heard at home, that if you require a paper handout, you can request that of the school, and they'll provide you one. Otherwise, they'll be, are these online now, or is the online version still last year's?
It's the last year, so we have your approval.
Do we know when those will be up, the new ones?
Probably shortly before enrollment, or over the next month there.
Or by enrollment, they'll be up? Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. The last item, the next item is the approval of the KASB membership for 2014 and 15. Superintendent Catt.
They are, the fee is $13,145. We're recommending we join KASB again. That includes the legal service, legal assistance fund. One of the things that we had talked about, some of the benefits, but we participate in the K-Jump program where we buy natural gas through KASB, a program they have, and save, I don't have the breakdown with me, but last year over 20,000, and when it first started it was in the 50,000 range. So that's a big benefit with that. The political pieces, they provide us with information there. I don't think we participate a great deal in like their conventions and those things, but I still think more than worth the consideration of both the fees. So.
We have a motion to approve the membership.
I make a motion to approve the KSB membership dues for 2014 and 15.
Second?
It's been moved by Board Member Patterson, seconded by Board Member Rankin. Is there any discussion on the KSB membership?
The 11,495, is that based off of full-time FTE? Is that how they come up with that?
You know,
I think from what I saw, that's what it looks like.
I think it is, but I couldn't give you a dollar amount of how much it is per FTE. But
Lawrence was like 14,000.
Okay.
Well, I think oftentimes our lobbying position doesn't mesh with theirs, but I think, the legal portion of it is a huge resource. And just some of the data that they obtain and collect and that's available to us is, we could probably get the same by having a staff person do it, but it would take them a lot more than what it's going to cost for our annual membership, so. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Next item on the agenda is discussion by board members and agenda requests. I have one agenda request. If we could have a policy brought forward for next meeting, allowing for the vice president to sign checks and other documents on behalf of the president when they're either unable to sign or unavailable to sign. We had talked about that early in the year and didn't do that, but I think it would be helpful for next year.
So just the policy stating that the vice president could sign at any time or in the president's absence, or how do you?
Yeah, just something that takes care of that. Just, I mean, I don't think we want to have that as an option to bypass the president, but yet as a way to, if the president's out of town or unavailable for some
Okay.
reason, that we can still get checks signed or documents signed.
Okay, yeah, that would be helpful.
And then, I know we talked about this, but I'd like to put, or have a discussion about televising the work sessions, maybe at the next work session, and discussing that.
Was there, oh, he's in the other room, I was going to ask if, I mean, they recorded, the,
I think it was just for the special set.
right, but I didn't know if there was any feedback, if people could see if that was just the way they did that would work, but I'll find out, we'll find out. See.
Anyone else have any agenda requests or discussion? I will then make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss negotiations, personnel, and attorney-client privilege, to include the board attorney, the superintendent, and the assistant superintendent of special services, I believe is the correct title, and for a period of 1 hour to begin at 7:05 and come back here at 8:05. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved by myself, seconded by Board Member Bickle. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. We'll be adjourned until 8:05.